President, please be seated. The court is now back in session. Before giving the floor back to the defense team for the accused to resume its questioning, the chamber would like to issue an oral ruling in relation to the request of the Nguyen Chia defense team on the adjournment of the court hearings. The chamber is seized of a request by the Nguyen Chia defense team for an adjournment of 4 weeks to prepare for the 3 remaining witnesses on S21 topic, namely 2 TCW 906, 2 TCW 816, and 2 TCW 916, primarily to review the documents underlying the S21 prisoner list produced by the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges E393.2. Alternatively, it requests that only the co-prosecutors and lead co-lawyers question these witnesses prior to an adjournment E402. After having heard the parties' submissions and noting that none of them oppose the admission of the documents underlying the new OCIJ prisoners list, document 393.2, said the President, the Chamber 1 admits all the documents underlying this list that were not previously admitted. Consider that the new S21 list do not require the delay of the testimony of 2 TCW 906 and therefore denies the defense request in this respect. 3 decides to hear the full testimony of 2 TCW 808 and 906 this week as scheduled. 4 further decides to adjourn the hearings for 1 week from 9 through 12 May 2016 before proceeding to the previously scheduled 30th through 20th May judicial recess. Upon reconvening on 23rd May 2016, the Chamber will hear the remaining S21 witnesses, 2 TCW 816 and 2 TCW 916 before proceeding to the internal purchase witnesses and civil parties. The full written reasons for this decision will follow in due course. And now the floor is given to the defense team for Mr. Nguyen Chia to resume its questioning. You may proceed now.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Your Honors and Counsel. Before I start, Mr. President, I still owe you the reference of the relocation of the execution or sites at S21 to Chiang Ek because of fear of academics, risk of academics. I told the chamber before the lunch break I was referring to the judgment, and I was. It's paragraph 184, which is actually the same paragraph I used about when the relocation took place. It is a paragraph from the amended closing order, and Duik agreed to what is in that part of the closing order. However, the issue of the epidemics you can also find in E3/5766, English ERN 0016547. I will present the Khmer and French ERN at a later stage. Mr. Witness,
President, you can take the floor now. Lead co-lawyer for civil parties.
Merci.
Thank you, Mr. President. A short observation here. What was presented by my colleague before the break was a beriberi epidemic, but paragraph 184 does not speak about a beriberi epidemic. And as far as we understand it, beriberi is not a contagious illness. This is simply what I want to underline, is to contest the fact that we're not necessarily speaking about a beriberi epidemic.
President, thank you. And Mr. Copper, could you please also repeat the reference number of the documents, that is the EON number and the E number, because there was no full interpretation in relation to identity of the documents. And the lead co-lawyer for civil party also made mention about the reason why you need to base on the documents.
The issue of the epidemic risk is in paragraph 184 of the Duig judgment. It quotes the amended closing order. It says, at some time between 1976 and mid-1977, partly in order to avoid the risk of epidemic, Duig decided to relocate the execution site to Chiang Ek. Paragraph 185, Duig, it says that Duig agreed with this statement. However, that actual statement you can also find in E3/5766, and the English ERN is 001-65437. And the Khmer and French ERN I will provide you shortly, Mr. President. And responding to the civil party lead co-lawyer, I didn't suggest that beriberi is a contagious disease. Actually, it isn't. Although I'm not a medic, I know that it isn't. It has something to do with shortage of vitamins, I think. It just led to a question on epidemic, so I didn't suggest any relation to a contagious disease whatsoever. Having said that, Mr. Witness, good afternoon again. I have a few questions that I would like to ask you. Let me first start with asking you some questions about the so-called special prison. The prison used, or facility rather, used to hold important prisoners. Did you know of its existence at the time?
I do not know about the existence of that so-called prison.
Did you know of a location where there was a separate category of prisoners? Have you heard your medical colleagues ever speak about a building outside of Tuol Sleng which also held prisoners?
I do not know about the prisons outside that compound. I only knew about the prison buildings within the compound.
Have you ever heard of prisoners of S21 or prisoners maybe from Prey Sar or Tak Mau prison becoming medics themselves?
Answer: I have never heard of that.
Okay. Then do you remember rather a female medic who might have been a widow with one child, who was working as midwife for S-21 cadres and whose revolutionary name was Tam?
I cannot recall the name of the female medics. I only at the time saw the male medics.
Do you know whether there was a medic who was a midwife, a medic who was responsible for delivering babies from S-21 cadres?
I do not know about midwives. I only know about the composition or members of my medics unit.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. And then, I think I'm now turning to my last questions. In your WRI E3/7673, at English page 00401872, Khmer 00163713, and French 00305214. You were asked the question whether you, during treatment, saw children or pregnant women, and you answered that the prisoners with wives and children were not shackled, nor were the children and wives. They were placed in a large cell with the door tightly shut. My question is, did you ever go in there, or did you just see that building from the outside? Can you give us some more details as what you know about these women and children?
While I was delivering the medicines, I saw children, but they were not too young. They were detained together with the parents, and perhaps 20 of them that I could see. In fact, I did not do other tasks or perform any other duties besides delivering the medicines to the prisoners.
But did you ever go inside that room or that building? Did you ever speak to the children, or did you ever speak to those women?
Whenever they got specific illnesses, I would go and give the medicines to them.
And how did you know that they were the wives of? How did you know that the women were the wives of other prisoners, or that the children that you saw in that building were the children of prisoners? How did you know?
There were mother and children. No male prisoners are detained together with the female prisoners, and those female prisoners together with the children were detained in an open room, and they were not shackled or cuffed.
I understand that is what you saw, but how did you know that they were in fact the wives, respectively the children of prisoners?
I did not ask them if they had husbands detained at that location as well. And at the time, I saw the females together with the children, and they were not shackled. And I did not know at the time whether the husband of the wife, had also been detained at that location.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. Thank you, Mr. President.
បាទអរគុណជាបន្តទៅនេះ
President, thank you. And now the floor is given to the defense team for Mr. Kyu Sampon to put questions to this witness. You can take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon, witness. My name is Anta Gise. I am the co-international counsel for Mr. Kusampon, and it is in this capacity that I'm going to be putting a few brief complementary questions to you. First, I would like to focus on the period during which you were in the production unit of traditional medicine. You spoke about this during your testimony, and you said this was at a little bit after 3 o'clock and 17 seconds yesterday afternoon. You said that you were involved in manufacturing this medicine, and that there were two elder men who were in charge of finding leaves and medicinal herbs. So my first question relates to these two elder men. Do you know if these were people who were traditional healers? Do you know that or not?
បាទគាត់
Answer, yes, they were traditional healers, and they were around 60 years old, and these people were going around to find herbs.
You also said that the person in charge of the production unit was a so-named Dam, whom you talked about this morning with my colleague from the civil parties. Was it indeed Dam who was in charge of the entire production unit, and was he the only leader in that regard?
Yes, he was in charge of manufacturing the herbal medicines at the time, or medicines. It was only him who supervised that production unit.
And where was this production unit located exactly? Where? In what kind of location? Was it in a building that was reserved for the production unit, or was this unit inside another building?
It was located in Ta Kamau, in a two-story building, and on the ground floor there was a grinder for grinding the ingredients so that the medicines could be produced and manufactured. And at the times we produced the rapid drop pellets.
Vous faisiez des médicaments traditionnels?
You were manufacturing traditional medicine? I don't know if that's what you said in Khmer. Well, my question more specifically was there only the production unit in this building? So it wasn't a hospital, it was only a production unit in that building. Is that what you said?
It was located in a building. That is the building. That building housed the production unit. There were no several production units.
if I understood your testimony well this morning, and yesterday as well, you said that when you left this production unit, it was to go work at S21. Is that correct?
បាទ
That is correct. After working at the production unit, I was transferred to S21.
Et quand vous avez
And when you were transferred to S21, was Dam still the head of the production unit of this traditional medicine?
Yes, he was still in charge of it. In charge of the production unit producing traditional medicines at that location.
Je voudrais maintenant
Now I'd like to speak about the moment when you saw Dam again. I understood that you saw him again when he arrived as a prisoner at S21. So did I understand your testimony properly?
បាទរយៈ
He was there for quite a period of time, and after my departure for 3 months or 4 months, he were in the centers where he was shackled or cuffed from my observation.
I understood that you said that he arrived after your departure. So are you speaking about the departure of your production unit? Is that correct?
arrivé à S21,
So he arrived at S21 3 to 4 months after you had left the production unit? Is that what I must understand?
That is correct. He was detained at S21.
So my question now is, how did you know and that he was detained at S21? How did you get to know that?
I did not know at the time. I did not know what happened to him, and as a result, he was sent for detention at that center. And I knew him since I was working with him before, and he was my chief of production unit. I was so concerned and afraid to see him in detention.
donc si je comprends,
So if I understood well, you do not know why he was detained at S21, correct?
Correct. I saw his face at the prison.
un autre
Another point of clarification I am requesting. You said yesterday at around 3:26 to the National Co-Prosecutor that at one point in time you were treating the battalion commanders and regiment commanders. So when did you treat these people? Can you please be specific about that?
I treated commanders of a commander of a battalion or regiment, and in fact it was not the treatment by me. I helped another medic to insert the needle.
And where did this happen? Was this at S21?
It was outside S21 in front of the gate that was the house of that person.
Donc vous êtes allé à
So you went to his home. Is that what I must understand?
Yes, it was in his home. A medic could not insert the needle into that patient's vein, so I went to assist the medic. I was not the medic on regular basis for that commander, and I had other duties to perform.
Précisément, vous avez
You said, specifically speaking, that there were 2 dispensaries at S21. So if possible, I would like you to try to locate these dispensaries, and with the leave of Mr. President and with the assistance of the court officer, I would like to provide to the witness a photograph, which is the same photograph I gave to the other witness yesterday. This is part of document E3/9431, French ERN 00181450, English 00198029, Khmer 00181396.
Yes.
je voudrais que vous
I'd like you to look at this photograph, witness, and I'd like you to tell us if you recognize the premises, and if you can see the place on this photograph where the dispensary was located in which you were working back then.
There are 3 buildings in this photograph. Within the fence, and at the front there was an office.
alors
When you say right in front, you're speaking in front of which building? Normally it's written in Khmer here. So we see building A, building B, building E, building C, and building D, which are indicated with arrows on this photograph. So can you tell us which building you're speaking about when you say right in front of me?
There are 3 buildings located in the south and north and west, and there is an office in this photograph opposite the gates.
est-ce que vous parlez
Are you speaking about the building on the bottom left side of the photograph with a roof in orange shingles? Is that the building you were referring to?
Yes, the building with tile roof located close to the entrance, and that entrance was used by me to go into the compound so that I could deliver medicine. That's correct, the building with the tile roof in front of that tile roof building.
et quand vous dites c'est bien ce bâtiment,
And when you say that is the building, is that where the dispensary was located?
The three buildings were the buildings of which I went to go and treat prisoners inside those buildings, and I used the entrance, as I said, to go inside the buildings, and I delivered the medicines for the prisoners in those buildings.
Ma question particulière.
My specific question was whether the dispensary you referred to, and you talked of two dispensary as at S21. Is a building to the left of the photograph with yellow tiles the building that housed the dispensary, or I didn't understand you correctly?
No, that is not correct. The building where the sick prisoners were treated were located far away. It's about 400 or 500 meters away. So when people became sick, they were treated in a separate building, which was located further away.
Est-ce que je dois conclure de votre...
Should I understand from your testimony that you don't have the building in which you treated the detainees on the photograph you have before you?
No, there weren't.
Je voudrais maintenant évoquer un point.
I would like us now to talk about something you said this morning. I do not know whether it was an answer to a question put to you by Judge Laveng. You talked of the existence of a medicines depot to which you didn't have access, but which your boss had access to. Did I properly understand your testimony this morning? That is to say that there was a medicines depot somewhere.
Ordinary staff were not allowed to go inside that medicine depot. There must have been the existence of a medicine depot, but as I said, we were not allowed to get inside it.
Quand vous dites un tel entrepôt a...
When you say that such a depot did exist, is that something your boss, Tree, told you about?
I did not know. What I knew was that there must have been a medicine depot, but I did not know where it was located. I only knew that when we ran out of medicine, he went out to get medicine in.
Quand vous dites on allait s'en procurer.
When you say you went out to get medicines, are you talking of your boss or of someone else?
Yes, that was my chief who went out to bring medicine for us to be used. They brought medicine to our workplace so that we could distribute it further.
Yesterday, slightly after 15 hours 46 and 4 seconds, you talked of the products used to clean wounds, and you talked of some antibiotics and a red liquid. My question to you is as follows. Were those antibiotics and the red liquid you use also provided to you by your chief?
បានមក
Yes, I received them from my chief. He's the one who brought those medicine to us.
Est-ce que vous savez d'où venait
Do you know where he got the antibiotics and the red liquid?
ខ្ញុំអត់បានដឹងដែរ
I did not know where they came from. I reported to him that we ran out of medicine to cure sick people, and then he went out and brought the medicine in, but I had no idea where he brought it from.
Toujours à propos des médicaments.
Still with regard to medicines, during your interview with OCIJ investigators, you talked of French medicines which were expired, and I'm referring you to your statement E3/7663 ERN in French 003050014, ERN in Khmer 00163713, and ERN in English 00401873. And the question that was put to you was as follows, and I quote, according to you, why did the Khmer Rouge not want to use the French medication? And your answer was as follows, because most of the French medication that remained had expired, and there was never any new medication coming in, end of quote. My first question is as follows, how did you know that there were French medicines? And secondly, how did you know that they were expired?
ឆ្នាំហ្នឹងហួសលើ
My team chief told us that the medicine were expired. And he used a kind of pain medicine, mixing that powder pain medicine with liquid to be used as saline water to clean the wound.
Quand vous dites il a mélangé,
When you say that he mixed powder and salted water, was that because the medicines had expired that he had to make such a mixture in order to have other types of medicines? Was it because those medicines you referred to had expired? Did I properly understand your testimony?
ស្រីសឡំហ្នឹងមិញ
I think you got confused. The salty water was used for cleaning the wound, but for the pain medicine or antibiotic medicine was used to cure the wound.
Je suis pas sûre d'avoir compris votre.
I am not sure I understood your answer. When you talked of medicines you refer to as B1 and B2, are those the medicines you are referring to? Is that what you are talking of now?
ពេលនោះពេលគឺពេល
The expired pain medicine or antibiotic medicine were intended to be used for curing the wound.
មានបេទេពេល
It's not B, it's not B, it's P. President, do you know a medicine that in the old day they refer to it as penicillin, answer, yes, I knew penicillin, but at that time they simply referred to it as pain medicine.
Et cette pénicilline, est-ce que
And was the penicillin a French medicine? Is that what you're saying?
មកពេល
Yes, penicillin was a French medicine. It was stored in bottles.
et vous, vous aviez droit
And did you have the right to produce such penicillin?
បាន
My team ordered us to mix that powder with water and apply it on the wound so that the wound will be healing.
Est-ce que je dois comprendre que
Should I take it that there was a point in time when you no longer had that type of medicine, or you had it throughout your stay at the medical production unit?
ឆ្នាំហ្នឹងដូច
We had sufficient medicine for penicillin. We used it until the Vietnamese arrived. So we had enough.
de façon générale, vous avez
Generally speaking, you talked about the things you were able to do as a simple care provider, and asked that more experienced persons like your chief could carry out. I would like you to tell the chamber whether you made a distinction between the dispensary for prisoners and the dispensary for staff members, and I would also like to know whether you were in touch with those who are in charge of the staff.
ខ្ញុំមិនបាន
I had no contacts with them. Even during mealtime, we were separated. We ate differently. We had no contact with each other.
est-ce que vous savez
Do you know or do you remember someone who had S21 who was not a detainee? The person was a woman and she practiced acupuncture. Does that remind you of anything?
បានចាំបានឮបានដឹង
No, I cannot recall it.
un dernier point est-
One last point. As a member of the medical unit, did you attend political training sessions during which the situation at the battlefront was discussed?
ខ្ញុំតាម
Since I was based in the medic unit, I had only meetings which focus on our task, that is medication. Our main focus was on treating and taking care of the sick persons, and if any sick person died because of us, and then we would face imprisonment. So yeah, I focused only on treating and distributing medicines. I did not participate in any other meetings as the one you just referred to.
Monsieur le Président, j'en étais
Mr. President, I am done with my examination of the witness.
Yes, Mr. President, I still owe you the Khmer era ends and the French ones of E3/5766, the part that in which Duig talks about the risk of epidemics. Khmer is 00165427228, French 001654445. Thank you.
President, thank you. The chamber would like to thank you, Mr. Mok Sitin. The hearing of your testimony as a witness is now concluded. Your testimony may contribute to ascertaining the truth in this case. Your presence in this courtroom is no longer required, and you may be excused. The chamber wishes you all the best. And the chamber also would like to thank Moon Sawan, the duty counsel. Your presence in this courtroom is also no longer required, and you may also be excused. Court officer, in collaboration with Visu, please make necessary transport arrangement to send the witness to wherever he wishes to go. And after the short break, the chamber will hear the testimony of witness 2TCW906. And we will take a short break from now until